Hello, I'm at Deux-Montagnes this morning because if you live here on November 10th, your buses will be changing. But to talk about how the bus network will be changing, I need to first show you what the buses are like currently. So to start, I'll be going from here, Deux-Montagnes, out to Sainte-Thérese train station, several kilometers east. This is the route. I'm taking the 80 to terminus Sainte-Eustache, then the 8 to Montmorency, then the 709 up to Sainte-Thérese. It's scheduled to take an hour and 19 minutes. Here's the 80's temporary stop, where I'm waiting. That's the 81 headed the other way. The 80 and 81 are locals that connect Pointe-Calumet to Deux-Montagnes and terminus Sainte-Eustache. The only difference between the two is that they do the loop in Pointe-Calumet in opposite directions. On November 10th, they are renumbering to the 220-221, stopping short at Deux-Montagnes instead of Saint-Eustache, and running more frequently on weekdays, but less frequently on weekends. That's the bus I was supposed to take. Turns out, it doesn't stop at the terminus, but on the street in front instead. The apps did show it, but I missed it. And to be fair, the bus shelter did say it was the shelter for the 80 and 81. I guess I'll make this work. After around 10 minutes of driving, I made it to terminus Saint-Eustache just on time. This is terminus Montmorency. It has amenities, including a change machine, ticket machines, bathrooms, and signage. After a short wait, the 709 showed up. Here's terminus Sainte-Thérese, complete with a freight train running through. Well, I am finally at Sainte-Thérese. Time to catch the 88, head back where we started. Let's look at the east-west connections and how they're changing on November 10th. There's the new 605, and the 88 I'm about to take is becoming the 600, with the express becoming the 405. Weekday service is getting less frequent, with fewer expresses. Weekend service is improving, especially on Sunday. The east-west connections from Sainte-Thérese to Terrebonne is definitely improving on the other hand. The Express 23 is unchanged, with a new regional 610 bus. This bus, running every half hour at peak and once an hour off peak, provides a true missing link in the current network. As it stands, to make this trip currently, you have to detour by Laval or take a poorly timed transfer within the North Shore. The new bus also simplifies and slightly improves the service provided by the current 22 and 5. Time to catch the 88, head back where we started. There's a bus coming. My app is freaking out a bit, but this is the route back, much simpler and more direct. Finally, back at Saint-Eustache. While we're at terminus Saint-Eustache, let's look at the rest of the locals in the area. This terminus will be closed once the new bus routes open, so they all change at least a little. The 89 is becoming the 227-228, and is a loop on Deux-Montagnes instead of going from Deux-Montagnes to Saint-Eustache. It is more frequent on weekdays, but less frequent on weekends. The 90 is a lot simpler. It becomes the 225-226. In addition, instead of terminating at Saint-Eustache, it continues on Arthur Sauvé to Grand Moulin, then heads up to Deux-Montagnes. It's more frequent on weekdays, but less frequent on weekends. The 91 is being deleted, with most of its stops now being served by the 600 and 708. The 92 is also being deleted, with most of its stops now served by the 600 and 708 and other local buses. Although, Rue Guy and several Rue Saint-Eustache stops are losing service. The 93 is being replaced by the 222 and is terminating at Grand Moulin instead of Saint-Eustache, so its eastern portion is deleted. The 600, 708, and 225-226 will serve almost all of these stops, however. The new service is a bit more frequent than the old service on weekdays and weekends. Walking around the station, you can see the lack of sidewalks and how it's just barren in general. While it was ultimately
A slightly eventful day. I think it was still a relatively successful trip back and forth between Wallonie and Sainte-Eustache and Sainte-Thérese. But I think you understand better now sort of regional crosstown connections that exist in this part of the network at Exo Laurentides.